Want to squeeze more damage from your artifacts and pets without basically spending anything? Here's exactly how I optimize my heroes for the best performance on the battlefield and giving my artifacts more damage also to my pets. First thing, I'm going to share with you how I noticed that my damage was falling behind. Now, if you go in your reports and in other, you're going to see that every time, especially in the combats, you're going to see combats, how you're going to get hit from one specific item, for how much and how much you're hitting. Now, for example, for artifacts like Phoenix Eye, there is a diffused damage. Okay, so maybe you was like 2-3 people there and you get hit hard, or maybe you was just alone there and you get the full damage of these artifacts. But that was not actually the issue, and this is also apply for the pets. So my realization was basically, right now I don't have some combat reports, was one day close to 2 was extremely peaceful, so you know, not much to say there. But how I noticed that, and this is basically from here, from the reports. So I start digging, okay, why somebody is hitting me, okay, let's say with the Mirage Orb, and you know, my Mirage Orb is level 1. Obviously there can be some example artifacts that may hit more, and so on and so on and so on. But you know, I start digging more deeper in this whole situation and try to find a way somehow to boost my personal Legion. I'm going to share with you basically how I achieve it, and I basically push with close to 20%. Maybe it's like 6k. I boost with 6k my Phoenix Eye performance, and I'm going to share with you how I did it. Because you know, finding a problem is just the step one. Here's where the things is getting interesting, and the secret to more damage is basically synchronize your artifacts with more strong heroes. And I'm going to give you an example, and basically for the attack. Now here I'm going to have Bertrand. Where is Bertrand? Now, why I'm actually picking Bertrand is because he's giving 25% more magic attack. Now, in same time, I'm going to use Phoenix Eye on the Bertrand, just for the purpose of this video. Normally, I use Mirage Orb there. And I'm going to use this pet on the Bertrand. It's going to be absolutely the same pets. Now, who else can actually boost my attack? And this is Thea, especially when I'm going to run them with Celestials. Now Thea is giving when the Field Legion get 15% more attack on top of Bertrand, which is giving like 25%. But also, if it's flying units, the attacks increased by extra 10%. So Thea is giving like 25%, and you have 25% for Bertrand. This is 50%, but that's not all. When the Legion get a shield, their attacks increased by up to by 10% up to 30%. When it's getting shield, so we may actually get some extra attack, but at the end of the day it's like something like 50% attack. Now obviously this is a flying Legion, so I'm going to use this mob here, which is heavy infantry level 47, for the purpose of this video. And let's go. Let's see how it's going to perform Bertrand with Thea against this Legion, and how much the artifact is going to hit and how much the pet is going to hit. Okay, Bertrand is hitting, we're getting shield, and the pet is hitting for 1.9k. 25.6k was the artifact. So 1.9, 25.6. Oh my god, I have to write it somewhere. Okay, I write it somewhere because you know I'm going to forget it. Now let's deploy a Legion that is not having that much boost, and I'm going to use Warrior. I'm going to get the Phoenix Eye. I'm going to equip it on the Warrior, and I'm going to use Sapphire Fire Strike, basically the pet I use over with the Bertrand. Now Water is still having something like boosting the attack. Legion magic unit get 10% attack, and the rest is more aggressive defensive spells. I'm going to use him with Valiant. Here is the Valiant. Valiant, I think, is not having something like this. Critical rate and 15% defense, march speed, we don't care. Basically, Valiant is not boosting by anything the attack of the Legion. So we have 50% that can go up if the is having a shield from the Thea, but it's going to be for sure 50% from Bertrand and Thea. And here we have just 10% from a Wodir with Velen. I'm going to use again Celestials, 300 Celestials, so let's go. And it was like 1.9k the damage output from the pet. Okay, let's go. Let's start hitting. I'm using just these heroes because they have less boost for the attack. Soon the Wodir is going to be ready to fire up, and Wodir is firing up, and Velen is firing up, and now the pet should firing up for 2k. Okay, look at the damage from the artifact. The difference is 5k. Now the pet is doing close to same amount of damage. Maybe there is some defense breaks or something like this. Okay, let's see the pet. The pet is doing same amount of damage. Now I see some difference between the pet, but it's not something crazy. Mostly the pet thing is going to get boosted from your attributes over the pet, but there is a difference. Now if I go with Lilia, for example, which you know is boosting the peacekeeping damage, and I put it with Velen, and I'm using basically the same pet, which is going to be from Wodir. Let's replace it with Celestials. You're going to see that the pet is going to do more damage, but this is just because of the peacekeeping damage. So in general, this can also increase the damage of your pet. Now Lilia right now is going to fire up, and after this is going to be Velen, and pet right now is going to hit for 2.5k. 2.5k you see increase with like 60% the damage that the pet was dealing. Now here is the thing, this is damage deal by peacekeeping stuff. Now if I go out and I create a Legion and I use, for example, Thunderlin and Mu. Now Mu is having very interesting spell, and this is whether a Legion get healing. One stack of healer mark each attack increase the damage due by 3%. I'm going to try to use absolutely the same artifact and the same pet, and I'm expecting, I'm not gonna lie, that the pet is going to do more damage just because of these stacks of Mu that currently is having. So I think it's going to be something like 2k, and I'm going to hit this this Legion, but the attack here I cannot say. I think it's on half from Bertrand there. I think it's only 25% from the Thunderlin, and here comes the Thunderlin, here comes the Mu, and we're expecting the pet. Where is the pet? Oh my god, I didn't see the pet spell. Okay, we're waiting for the pet, and the pet is hitting for 1.9k. So not huge difference from point of pets, but the artifact definitely have some difference. So for sure I'm going to think about how I'm going to use my artifacts. So far this is the Legions. Let's talk about the Legions. So far we covered how I found the problem and boost my damage using better pairing. Next I will show you exactly how I'm going to change my Legions. So I'm going to deploy the Legions that I'm currently using. Now here I have Lilia Velen with Infernal Flame. Now Infernal Flame is built for Lilia, okay? It's built for Lilia just because she's having this Scorch and is giving this 15% magic kin for 5 seconds. Now the other thing is going to be Bertrand with Toher and Thunderlin with Thea. Now I'm going to put this Phoenix Eye to stay on Thunderlin Talea. The reason here is because Thunderlin is giving Magic Legion led by this hero gets 30% magic attack and provide 20% more shields and healing. Now the magic attack here is good. Here should be for sure with Celestials. So this is one of the things I'm going to change for sure. Now here we don't have that much damage, so I'm going to put Vestos over Talea and Muxiang. Bertrand Tocher, since a lot of infantry on the battlefield, they're going to continue sitting with Celestials, but I'm going to actually change them to Vestos because I want to have 2 Vestos. And obviously Margaret with what was the name, Sindrian is going to be with the Marksmans. Now maybe here I can actually, yeah, I'm going to leave to be Vestos and see how the things will go. I'm going to clear here and I'm going to overwrite this thing. So far I actually built my legion pretty nice. I actually built the legion and I put the artifacts at their places before, like one day when I was you know, exploring this thing, but I just wanted to make a video and show you the results and how you can have like over 5k difference from the artifact hit just by switching the legions. And having these artifacts firing up every 1.5 minutes, every 5k you get in extra is something very, very nice. So again, this is all for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you have any thoughts, you can just write it in the comments below. I'm reading all of my comments. I wish you a great day, and yeah, see you in the next video.